Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Eric. Today I'm going to talk about the 1985 science fiction film Enemy Mine, which was directed by Wolfgang Peterson and starring Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. You can see a picture there of Quaid and Gossett in heavy makeup as the drac. So the premise of this film, we're in the future, late 21st century, and there's a war, space war going on between human beings and an alien species known as the drac. And Dennis Quaid is a pilot. We start out with this kind of Star Wars type of battle, and he crash lands on a planet and finds that a drac has also crash landed on the planet, and they have to find a way to get along and survive together and overcome all of their language and cultural barriers. So that's the premise, and it's a great premise for a film. Some point to the World War II movie, which I have, Hell in the Pacific, with Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune, which was about an American and a Japanese soldier during the war who are stranded on an island together and must find a way to survive. There's a Star Trek The Next Generation episode where with Picard and an alien must learn to communicate on a planet. I think the Darmok episode. So it's always makes for a great premise about breaking down cultural barriers, coming to some understanding with someone that you're supposed to love with your sworn enemy. So it's a really good premise to go with. So, just to talk about the movie a little bit. So, most of the film is on a planet with Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. And at first they don't get along at all. Then they find some common ground eventually. And the performances are really good with Gossett and Quaid as eventually they find a way to connect. They learn each other's language. They share information about their cultures, and it's just really well done. They save each other, they help each other. So it's like I said, it's really a positive message to the movie there about overcoming barriers between people. So the film really works nicely in that regard. It's also that the drac are their gender, they are male and female, so they're like hermaphrodite gender, and the film explores that a little bit, where he gives birth at one point, or not to get the wrong pronoun, but the drac, played by Louis Gossett Jr., gives birth at one point. We learn that they can conceive children on their own in some ways, so we get a little bit about the interesting biology, and Dennis Quaid comes to accept that and everything as well. So that's one aspect, but also the religion and the cultural barriers that they learn about each other, all that's handled really well. That's really the first 2/3 of the movie. Now, when we get to the last section of the movie, and it becomes more of an action adventure movie, which is a big tonal shift from this really in-depth character study that we've had. The climax is okay, but we do move into some interesting territory for the actors. But there is a big tonal shift about 2/3 of the way through. Enemy Mine. So I would recommend the film. It's worth watching at least once for the performances. Louis Gossett Jr. is so good with his verbal language, with the way he moves, the way he speaks. In that really heavy makeup that was really difficult for him. He had to wear these eye contacts that were really painful. So just a really physically and intellectually demanding performance that he had to give for the film. So, yeah, very much worth watching. A little bit on the production history of the film. Now, the original director, Richard Loncraine, was fired about 3 or 4 weeks into production. Wolfgang Peterson took over. It seems the big conflict was Loncraine wanted to film on actual locations, and that was slowing the production down, and Wolfgang Peterson was able to do the film on sound stages for the most part. So the film does kind of have that soundstage quality to it. It would have been really cool if they had been able to do this in real locations, but very difficult to do. And the Projection Booth podcast did an episode on Enemy Mine where they actually interview Richard Loncraine, the original director, and he doesn't care at all. He lets it all out about the conflicts he had with people, executives, and others, and he holds nothing back about what was going on behind the scenes of Enemy Mine. And the Projection Booth did a great job of covering the production history of the film. I should mention the film's based on a novella by Barry Longear, who's also on that Projection Booth episode. So that's worth listening to. So the film was released at the end of '85. It didn't do so well. It was not a big hit or anything. I guess for whatever reason, audiences didn't really respond to it. But like I said, like other films of this era, it would find its audience, I think, on cable and TV, moving ahead. And there's even talk of a possible remake of this story. So we'll be curious to see if they do that. So this is the last film I'm going to cover from 1985. Going to move into 1986 now and have some really exciting films to cover from that year in the 1980s, and I look forward to talking about those. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.